everybody, hi every spirit, welcome very much to SoulGroup Empires. Esoteric Cloud Surfer here, ready to react to the Age of Empires 4 announcement made or being made right now on Gamescom. Gamescom is one of, if not the biggest game gathering and event in the world. It's being held in Germany, and in the part of, or in the Xbox Avenue, we have shows from all the games that Xbox and Microsoft are associated with, and Age of Empires is one of them, okay? So we will be watching right now the part of Age of Empires 4. They will be focusing on the part where you are able to play on Xbox, and then hopefully we'll have an announcement for something new for Age of Empires 4, either it be new civilizations, maybe a trial version for bringing new players into the game. We don't know what the announcement will be. We don't know if there will be an announcement, but we hope so, we think so, we want so, and let's get into it. By the way, if you enjoyed the videos and the channel, leave a like.
Welcome to World's Edge, home to the beloved Age of Empires franchise. We've been on a journey to continue the legacy of creating world-class real-time strategy games that started over 25 years ago.
That legacy is all thanks to you, the fans.
You inspire us to develop new ideas and evolve our games.
In 2021, we partnered with the award-winning studio Relic Entertainment to push the franchise into a new era with our latest title, Age of Empires 4.
It was a global event that heralded a new chapter of story.
It didn't went that well, did it? It didn't go that well, did it?
Telling and strategy.
Age of Empires 4 humanizes the compelling stories from that historical time and presents a new perspective through engaging gameplay.
It challenges you to make history your story.
And what better way to do that than with a trebuchet?
Did you hear that whoosh?
Okay.
In the first year of Age of Empires 4, we added new civilizations, new seasons, and features that fans were very excited about.
But there was always...
That's true. They did brought some cool things. That's very good. But at the same time, most of the things that they brought should already be there. You know what I'm saying? So
something else that fans wanted.
We kept hearing the same thing over and over.
When are you bringing it to Xbox?
We're so excited that finally all the content in Age of Empires 4 is now available on the Xbox console.
But figuring out how to make it for a console audience was easier said than done.
It was impossible to go to any social media platform where the Age of Empires account was posting, where there was not a comment underneath saying, when is it coming to Xbox?
We knew that it was important, especially from the perspective of being able to bring RTS and Age to as many people as possible.
that's very true. That's very true. I think RTS is a great genre. It's one of the best genre. It allows for the expression of your skill and individuality in many different ways, because we have macro, micro, matchups, maps, drafts, whatever, right? And I think that bringing that to Xbox in a way that it's a bit simpler to play, I believe it's great. It will bring a lot of people to the game, and a lot of people that thought RTS was not their thing, they might be like, oh, it's totally my thing now since it was released on Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
We'd been talking about it for a long, long time, but it had always come back down to that key factor of getting RTS from PC and mouse onto a controller. You get the defensive stance, like, you can't do this.
That's a super challenge, bro. That's a huge challenge.
Like, well, why do you feel that way? Well, I'm gonna have to like move a fake mouse around. Okay, we're not doing that. A controller is a drive mechanism. You're driving a character, you're driving a viewpoint. You are driving something through an environment. How do we make that work? How do we find a solution? We have these ideas, but you know, we can't build the game internally. We're only like, we're not a huge RTS studio, but we would love to go look for partners. And the first team on our list that we want to talk to was Relic about doing Age 4.
Relic has been making RTS games for 25 years, and Age of Empires has always been a reference point.
It's truly a global effort between so many different teams: Climax, Forgotten Empires, Relic, and the World's Edge.
World's Edge brought in Climax Studios in the UK, who had a background in console games.
Climax Studios is a real powerhouse when it comes to user interface elements.
And we felt that they could bring a unique perspective to building out the control scheme.
There was a port once upon a time. In 2001, I played it and I hated it. I hated everything about it. So we have a history, even within our franchise, of how not to do a port.
If we were forced to port it, we probably never would have done it.
Our challenge was we're bringing in Age 4, which has some...
I'm really enjoying this show and seeing the background of them developing the game for console. Also seeing the studios and the places where these people work, it's also very cool.
Extra complexities over Age 2. How are we going to make that work? What we found is we could actually use that framework to bring the game into its own.
This game is basically a redesign from the ground up.
Age of Empires 4 is a different engine. It wasn't just a case of doing what Age 2 did. We had to build it all from the ground up.
You have players sitting in the living room away from the TV. We have to reconsider all the UI menus and all the in-game HUDs to make sure they're as legible.
True, yeah, they need to be big because I'm here on the PC, super close to the screen, but if I'm playing on my Xbox or my PS5, I'm actually a bit further away from the screen, right? That makes sense.
As high contrast as possible.
The whole development team knew that micromanaging individual villagers was going to be difficult on console.
We have introduced a lot of automation systems.
All of us.
For sure. It will be very difficult, but the thing is, I'm afraid that those automation systems can be an advantage. I don't know if you'll be able to play cross-platform. I don't know if you'll be able to play against people that are playing on Xbox, which I think you should. But the thing is, those automation systems might make the game way easier for them, for whoever is playing on Xbox, right?
Us as game designers and game creators are always seeking that next thing. Like, how do we evolve the experience? How do we move it forward, right?
There are two that really stand out. First one is called the Villager Priority System.
The Villager Priority System is something we came up with in Age 2 because we were after that idea of like, okay, how do we...
Okay, Villager Priority System. All right, that sounds interesting.
Stop the console player from having to do this insane amount of micromanagement of their villagers. Based on a pie chart, you can say like, hey, 50% of my people are gonna go work on wood, and 25% are gonna go work on food, and the rest are gonna go work on gold. And they'll just start working on them. Now, if you wanna change that, we've added all these cool settings for mid-game, early game, wood rush.
That were designed by our pro players. So these presets are not just something that were slapped together.
Or you can turn it off and do everything manually, it's up to you.
We also have...
It does seem to get a bit easier, right? Because you don't need to select your villagers, and it is easier to follow build orders, because you just 50% people go to wood, 50% go to gold. I think it's easier to manage. I don't think it's a huge advantage, but it is an advantage.
Have the site menu system
that allows you to quickly issue a command contextually on the ground.
It's context sensitive, so it'll bring up the right structure that you can build at that spot. In Age, you were always relegated to having to select a villager, bring up the build menu, click the item that you want, and then drop that build foundation on the battlefield. Now with the SMS, you don't have to do that anymore. You can literally pan the camera over to a spot, bring up your production radial, drop a build foundation there, and a villager will automatically be selected to start the build process on that particular foundation.
It is really cool though. It is really cool though.
Kind of magic to the radio menu is that it allows you to do many things at the same time. With the console version of Age of Empires 4, we also added a new find menu feature. This is a unique radio menu that allows you to quickly find and locate units or buildings or a collection of buildings in the midst of battle.
Those were the primary things that the minute we had them working, we're like, those are in the Age 4 console.
And we often joke between the designers that some of us even prefer to play on the controller now because it is so good.
This was something bigger than a port. This was something that we had to approach.
Yeah, for sure. It's way bigger than a port, for sure, for sure.
The way that one would approach starting out a project from scratch.
Age of Empires 4 on controller is a new experience. Because of that, we knew we needed to design a new entry point.
When we're making tutorials, one of the things that we always try to do is figure out a way to make them not now do this, now click on this. Like, how do we build it into the experience?
He first needed to get a lay of the land.
The Rise of King tutorial is a completely new story within Age of Empires 4.
For a whole new audience, we wanted to bring them through an experience that was a great storytelling experience.
A collection of large rocks caught Guillaume's eye. Wary of hidden threats, he decided to investigate.
But also introduced mechanics to them in a progressive way in which they could learn from it.
We definitely ran into things where we realized that some of the ways that we were building graphics and units were not as optimized as they need to be for something like a console to run really smoothly. But there were things there that actually ended up improving the PC game as well.
I really hope that when we bring all these new console players into Age of Empires 4 for the very first time, that they get to share that enjoyment and everything that we love about the game with their friends and their families, much like I did with my dad when I was growing up. Well, that community is so special to me. I met my wife playing Age of Empires, and maybe, you know,
GG.
when we have children, they'll play Age of Empires too.
So my favorite thing about Age of Empires is the diverse civilizations that are represented.
That's true. The civilizations are very unique, and they brought some changes to make them even more unique, and I think they will continue to do so, which is great.
Even the language is representative of the civilizations for that time period. That dialogue grows or changes as the civilization ages up and the time periods change. I've worked in the RTS genre for over 29 years. I'm very genuine in saying that I actually prefer to play RTS games now with the controller.
You get all of the campaigns, all of our civilizations.
And most importantly, mods. Mods will be supported at launch day.
Age of Empires
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, though.
4 is available now on Xbox consoles and cloud.
We took great care and attention to bring this game to console players, and we hope you're as excited to play it as we are to share it with you.
There's never been a better time to pick up a controller and start making history.
We'll see you on the battlefield.
Is it going to be cross-platform, though?
Well, we just saw how it was made. I think maybe now it's time to play it for real on console, finally. But first, I'm going to ask you to head to Twitch chat for your chance to win a month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So now, please everyone join me in welcoming Chris Rubio to the Xbox stage. Chris, how are you doing today?
I am doing awesome.
It's been a pretty good 24 hours, right? We had Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition Shadow drop yesterday onto Game Pass from Opening Night Live. I know it's been a short amount of time, but what has the reaction been like so far?
It's been just overwhelmingly positive.
I like that answer. That's what I was hoping you'd say.
We met with, I've met with a lot of players that have come to our booth. They're like, wow, thank you for bringing it to console. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Yep.
People that have played it tell us, wow, that it's amazing how you even got it to work. What was the mad science behind that?
What were you doing?
A lot of magic and a lot of goodness went into it, but it's been a very, very awesome. The shadow drop was
yeah,
was
we
great.
do love
It
a
was
shadow
awesome.
drop, don't we? Well, we're going to be
Smart strategy, like huge surprise, right?
digging into all of that, but you are here to showcase everything what the team of World's Edge have been working on, and we're going to be doing a live gameplay segment for you all. So we're going to go through Skirmish, and before I do any of the nerdy questions in my head about how you've done it, I'm going to ask you some nerdy questions about what we're going to be looking at here. So what have you got set up for us?
So today we'll be diving into Skirmish, but I want to walk players through a lot of the changes that we made.
Yeah, go for it.
You've heard us. If you watched the documentary, we literally rebuilt the front end and a lot of all of the tactical UI. We built it from the ground up, redesigned it so it would work incredibly well on the console. And so I would love to show that off to players and everything that
floor
we've done.
is all yours, my darling.
Sweetness. So let's jump in. So this is for the Xbox, we created a brand new front end. And by the way, I love that I'm all the way back here, like 8 feet. Incredibly readable. So this is awesome. Very easy to navigate through our various menus that we created. Just you can RB through everything. And again, it's still kind of it has a lot of the colors and flares that our PC version did, but again, redesigned so that you can couch play from almost 8 feet away, which is awesome.
Let's just pause for a moment. At no point on the screen does it say Age of Empires, but I know what I'm looking at, and you've got an Xbox and controller in your hand.
Yes.
So there you go.
It's awesome.
Job done.
So we're going to go into single player today, and we're going to set up a skirmish. But I've already set up a skirmish. which is
No,
awesome.
this one I made earlier.
This is one I made earlier, so that we can jump in, and more importantly, it'll enable me to talk about all the cool stuff that we've done.
Nice.
And hopefully not get destroyed by the AI. So.
Well, also I'm going to make sure you aren't distracted and you do talk to me during
Yes, that's right.
Because I've heard that you go into focus mode somewhat.
I go into combat mode. So.
Which I love, because I'm not a combat girly. I like to build my civilizations. I like to make them
Wizardly Bison 1-1. That's his name.
look very beautiful. And then at the end, I'm like, I suppose I need to go bash someone up now.
I do that too. I'm actually quite the builder. And then, I get a lot of better players than me that come over and stomp my base. I'm like, I probably should have been focused on making a cool base.
It's all about turtling the wonder in the base for me. That's how I go for it.
So it's awesome. So we're going to be playing today. We got the English versus the French.
Yep.
Very tried and true classic matchup.
Indeed.
We're going to start with our base kind of already pre-made. And if players...
It looks good. And the zoom, I like the zoom. The zoom is good as well.
Out there haven't checked it out, we've released Empire Wars, which is a kind of a really cool fast start in the game. And Age of Empires 4 is a little bit different than Age of Empires 2. The civs are slightly more asymmetric. So Empire Wars was designed, each civilization starts and was handcrafted to start at the right start that you would expect them to be at that point in time. So a lot of passion and love went into making that mode super awesome. So what we see here is basically the base that I've set up. I got a bunch of workers right here in idle, but more importantly, it's like, well, what's all that UI on the screen?
Because that is the first thing, especially so you go from PC gameplay, and if you've never played on console, Age 2 came out early this year. If you've not had a chance to play that yourself, it even looks different to that one as well as soon as you load in somewhat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've went in, we've made a lot of modifications, and our goal is to literally streamline the interface, but at the same time make it incredibly accessible and easy to read for couch play.
Yes,
so
definitely.
one of the first things any PC player would notice is like, oh my gosh, the resource bar is in the top center of the screen. It's on the PC, it's in the lower left. And we found on the console...
Thank you for the ad.
we found on the console that that placement is really nice, makes it super easy to read, and we got a lot of learnings actually came from Age of Empires 2. Kudos to that team for an awesome job that they did. So we were able to tap into a lot of that and literally kind of define out. So as I go through the screen in a clockwise motion, we have our resource bar at the top. We have kind of our tribute menu that you can access, with various commands. You'll also see a bunch of little helper widgets, and those were purposely done so there's, it's not mouse and keyboard. It is, you need to, as a new player, it's very helpful to understand which inputs you got to press to access various bits of functionality. The lower right-hand corner, that's kind of your tried and true mini-map.
Indeed,
You can expand your mini-map, which is a really cool bit of functionality.
Yeah,
you can hold down the Y button.
That's really cool to expand the minimap.
You can actually super fast scroll.
It's seamless.
Yep. You can drop camera markers, which I'm going to do here. One more, and then that's a terrible spot for a marker, but I'll drop one right there for the purpose of demo. And then what you can do too on the minimap is you can just literally just jump around based on those waypoints that you set. So entirely up to the player, however they want to play. And the toolbar, or I should say the D-pad controls that you see in the center of this bottom center there, those are what we call a quick find menu, and it allows players, kind of like hotkey shortcuts on the PC. It allows you to jump to various units, structures that you have on the battlefield. For example, if I press D-pad up, I can cycle through all my idle villagers very quickly.
There they are.
If I want to go to my military, I can press D-pad left, boom, I'm right there with a group of units, and I can kind of cycle through them. Now, if I want, I can actually select all my idle villagers just by holding D-pad up.
Right, you've thought this through, haven't you?
It makes it super simple.
In fact, if we can for a moment, I just want to pause the game. We're going to cut away from the gameplay very quickly. Chat's probably going to know why. And I want to ask you a little bit about what work you've done in the background to try and get it to like the testing phase. And we even heard in that Vidoc just then that I think it's yourself or maybe a lot of other people are really, really excited about playing on controller now.
Yeah, so we have, we've spent, I should say, both teams, Age of Empires 2 and 4, we spent many, many months and thousands of hours basically hammering away. We methodically went through the keyboard and mouse inputs and essentially broke them down, figured out how all of that would map and translate to the controller. And then once we got it all done on paper, after many months, we started prototyping, we started iterating, we started playing. What worked, what didn't work. Started throwing things out, bringing stuff back. So it was just a constant phase of development where we were just trying and experimenting until we landed on what you see here today. And we're really happy. The team, kudos to all the teams, our partner teams that worked on this. We have something that is truly amazing, and honestly, I've said this before. If you watch the videos, as an RTS player, I should say, as an RTS developer that's worked in the genre for about 29 years now, I actually prefer to play with the controller.
Well, let's go back in the hot seat then. Do some movements for us. I want to see.
Is that true, or is that just marketing?
Do the thing again. You select all the villagers.
So I press up on the D-pad.
Go on. Oh, there we go.
Which is super awesome. If you think about it, it's like,
so good.
And that's what I love about the controllers. Everything on the D-pad is at your fingertips. It's you no longer have two input devices. Everything's been focused down to one. And we've gone in, we've intelligently designed the controller in such a way that it just makes everything feel really intuitive, natural. And why I say that is because that carries through across both products, Age 2 and Age 4. So if you're an Age 2 player and you're like, I'm going to go download Age 4 right now.
Which you should, if you haven't, by the way.
Absolutely. You're going to be able to pick up the controller and start playing right away, and it's going to feel, you're going to feel right at home. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can play this without having to relearn it. No, that was intentionally done because
Smart play. Very smart play to make the controllers similar or even the same for both games.
This blueprint that we have was designed so not only in the present is it awesome, but we can also carry it forward into the future with other iterations. So I gotta, am I getting attacked by the AI? Look at that, I'm talking.
Here we are chatting and you're under fire.
Yeah, so what I want to show off are a couple cool innovations.
Yes,
these are absolutely critical to players out there. The first one is called the Villager Priority System, and this is key. I love this system with a passion, and I got to say, this is actually a new innovative feature for the genre as a whole. I was saying to our creative director, I'm like, how did we not think of this 10 years ago? and we laugh about it. But that's how cool of a feature it really is. So how it works is you essentially bring up this really cool radio. You hold left down the...
Oh? What? Hold on, guys. I remember the time where it was. It's here.
For the genre as a whole. I was saying to our creative director, I'm like, how did really cool radio, you hold left down the left trigger, press an RS, and it brings up this radial. And this radial has a bunch of different presets that are broken up into various kind of like pie chart-like fashions. These are all weighted based on resource type. So
instead of dragging and dropping individual folks as they come out the village, it's just already managed.
This is where it gets really good. I got it all set up. So, oh my God, that's amazing. So we're gonna focus in on this economic one, but if you can use these presets. They were designed by our pro players on our team. We have some basic ones that if you're like me, you can just kind of set it and go. But depending on phase of gameplay, you can actually shift in and out of presets based on if I need more gold, need more stone.
Well, that's end game is when you need more gold. You don't really need it at start,
And you can pivot your villagers accordingly in this governance.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool, ain't gonna lie.
System will take care of all that for you. Now, of course, if you're super pro, you can go in.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
You can go in and customize your own VPS settings.
Okay.
So you have a custom setting for the pro players, or your average, individuals like myself, or your presets, which are more geared towards me. And let me show everybody how this works, because this is awesome. So I'm going to select the economic preset down here, very basic, straightforward. Click a button, and you watch all those idle villagers.
Off they go.
They're put to work.
And
let me show you an amazing pairing. So you take the villager priority system and you combine it with a new feature that we added to Age of Empires 4 on the Xbox, which is auto-train villagers on your TC. So now...
that's too easy, bro. That's too easy.
You get auto-train villagers going, and essentially you'll be booming in no time.
Just showing off now.
And it's awesome. So...
That's too easy.
These features, made perfect sense to pair these two.
Yeah.
And, anybody out there, try it out. You're gonna love it. Once you can't go back. I was playing the PC the other day, and we're working on PC, iterating and changing things. I'm like, I had so much wood. I'm like, why are my villagers collecting wood? I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot. I'm on the PC, not the console. And you got to manually go in and out. But people, players love that level of micro. So we want to make sure that we give player the agency to do either or. This system really helps bolster the console experience. So, and that's why we added it. And Age of Empires 2 was the first one to add it. We brought the system in. We've made some additional tunings to it to make it work even better. And over time, you're just going to see the system in the Age series just grow and grow and just become super awesome.
Absolutely love it.
I got one more. Do we have time?
Oh, of course we've got time. All the time in the world.
So another feature that we added to Age of Empires Xbox was the ability to build anywhere you want without having to select a villager. This is key. So
Yeah, that's cool though.
normally in the past, you had to select a villager and bring up the command bar. On the PC, it's in the bottom.
Yep.
I didn't show this earlier. Gosh darn it. And here, this is the build radial. So let me talk about it now. This is the build radial. And on the console, we've broken up the build features across 4 different categories. You have economy, defense, military, and age up. So, and I'll back out of that, bring it back up again. And all of this is easily accessible through the D-pad. Purposely designed so players eventually can map all this in their brains to, I'll just go to the economy and eventually get it. So very well done. So with the site menu system, no longer do you have to select a villager. You can simply say, cursor over this resource pile, hit the right trigger, and it's going to bring up the right structure that you can place at that particular pile.
That's cool though, but also too easy.
And the way that you've weighted the villagers to work, people will go build it, and then they'll go mine it.
One villager will automatically be assigned, and it'll start building. And the great thing is, once this villager is done, the VPS system will capture that villager and put it back to work.
Oh my days.
So it's super awesome. And of course, that's with resource piles, so it's context sensitive on demand. You can also cursor over the terrain, bring up the menu, go to your build system, and it brings up the villager radio. And at that point, say I want to build more military structures, simply select the military structure, build one, and it's going to select the nearby villager, and off you go. So again, some really awesome niceties that we added to the game to just further bolster the console experience and reduce APM on the player.
So good. Now, there might be some people in chat who saw the news yesterday as well, who might be brand new to this whole experience, and there is a tutorial that's been added called Rise of the King. I wonder if we could just touch on that very quickly.
Absolutely. So the Rise of the King tutorial was created for the Xbox experience. It's broken up across 5 different missions, and it was designed to teach players the basics, the core, your core inputs, your basic age concepts, as well as teach players the fundamentals like base building, resource management, and of course the biggie, combat. So it takes players through all of these different phases of gameplay across 5 missions. Now, we didn't want to just build an onboarding experience that was do this, do that. We wanted something that was narratively driven and tied into the historical component that we created for Age of Empires 4. So we decided to create a prelude to the main campaign of the game, which follows William the Conqueror starting in 1047, and it takes you all the way up to 1066 with the landing in England up to the Battle of Hastings.
There it is.
So when you move into the main campaign, you'll actually start off right where you left off in the tutorial.
Oh, you lot are well smart. Well done. So the Xbox mantra that we all know and love is very much play how you want, when you want, and wherever you want. And that's very important because now we've enabled 2 and 4 of the Age franchise on Xbox consoles. How does it feel to be continuing to support that mantra?
It's awesome. It's an opportunity for us to get Age in the hands of millions of new gamers around the world. That may never have the opportunity to experience this game. Always wanted to experience this game, but for whatever reason, they couldn't. So now, through Game Pass and Xbox, they can go online, they can download it, and have a great experience. And so for us, it's an opportunity, a chance for players to play on the platform they want and play comfortably on the input device that they want.
And comfortably on the sofa as
on
well.
The sofa, which,
on
by the way,
sofa.
Is super awesome.
It's pretty good. Chat, by the way, I want to know, hands up in chat, if you have got it installed, because I want to see everyone just get very, very excited. It has been a little bit of time since it's been announced, so fingers crossed you have. But before we go, I must ask, because I'm also very excited. I hear you've got a big announcement for us, something you want to share, maybe?
I am thrilled.
Thrilled
and have the privilege of being able
This might be it, the big announcement for AOE4. Let's see.
To announce to everyone around the world that the biggest expansion released for Age of Empires 4 is coming soon. It's called The Sultan's Ascend.
Oh, that's a
It's
good name.
packed with a ton of content, and it's...
Wait, expansion? So we have to buy it. The Sultan's Ascend. Add the upcoming new expansion to your wish list today. So we have to buy the expansion, I assume. Okay, hold on. It's still not on Steam, so I don't know.
It's going to take players on an epic journey through the Middle East. Now, I can say stay tuned. That's all I can say at this time.
Darn it. Sorry, chat.
We're going to release more information very shortly, as well as details on how you can go onto your favorite platform and wishlist this baby up. So
Fantastic.
super excited, and please, that's good. The expansion's awesome.
So that's the... Okay. But it's going to be what, like new sieves? It's going to be new campaign?
Cannot wait to see more. Cannot wait to hear more. Chris, I also want to know when you go home and continue the skirmish, I want to hear how the fight goes.
Oh,
you do it, all right?
Probably going to go terribly.
Nah, I believe in you. I believe in you. Well, thanks again for joining us. And chat, please.
That's it.
Please do not forget, you can play Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition on Xbox right now. You didn't think I'd be saying that a few days ago with Xbox Game Pass, as well as PC Game Pass if you haven't tried it out yet. Coming up next, I'm going to be chatting with the big man himself, Phil Spencer, so get mega excited. But first, it made a splash on Opening Night Live, so let's check it out right now. This is the latest from Starfield.
Oh, it's that it. Basically, they just talk about the Xbox version, and then there is a new expansion, not like, but I don't know if we will have to pay it, but because they said add it to your wish list, perhaps it means you have to buy it, and it's about the Middle East, so I don't think new sieves are coming out, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this presentation. I think it was too focused on the Xbox launch. It didn't focus at all on the PC version. And we don't know if it's cross-platform or not, so it will be nice for them to tell us that. Other than that, I was disappointed. As well, actually. Because they didn't say much. So, let me know what you think. Until the next time, it's the Cloud Surfer, surfing out.